What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully, you guys are doing excellent and taking care of yourselves. Today, we've got an awesome one. We're going to talk about Post Malone's alien experiences as he talks about them on the internet, as well as with Joe Rogan and plenty of others. So, we're going to get into it and his specifics and how they correlate to the larger UFO world as a whole. So, of course, we've got our Mr. Alien here. We've got the Lockdown Universe logo in the back. We've got the crazy alien dog, woof woof. We've got crazy baby alien, hello baby alien. And then we've got hello dead kitty. Yes, 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 right in front of your face. And then we've got the everything Zen, Mr. Bigfoot. Now, you haven't had a close encounter with a Bigfoot. You could have a close encounter with this Bigfoot. He's meditative. Okay, so enough of the crazy talk. We're going to get down into it. So, who's Post Malone? Well, if you haven't heard of him, he's one of the most influential musicians of our time. Very laid back, super likable guy that mixes all kinds of genres. He mixes, pop and laid back. Rock and just like everything, man. You put him on and you can like chill out in the background. Let me pull up a picture. If you've never seen him before, here you go. Mr. I am Posty. They call him Posty now. See? So let's pull up in the big screen here. Bada bang, bada boom. Posty. There you go. If you haven't seen Posty, here he is. Plenty of pictures. So, he's been around since, I think, 2016? He came out with White Iverson, and just like a super chill, relaxing song. And since then, he's released tons of music. And people absolutely love Post Malone, man. They just love this dude. He goes on interviews. He's super likable. He's very respectful. He says yes sir, no sir. Goes on like Jimmy Fallon's show, The Tonight Show. Very yes sir, no sir, thank you sir. It's not like a show. It's not a fad. He's not putting on a face, even though his face has plenty of tattoos. But I think we're living in this age now where it's pretty common. And people don't care. And like every video is like him being cool with people out in public and just being an overall like nice guy. So anyway, enough fanboying over Posty. I'm going to pull up this article. Now, there's not a lot of info. Honestly, there's so many articles like written by Vanity Fair. Well, it must be nice to write for Vanity Fair because you can just write a few words and you have an article. Not a whole lot of detail, but there's other articles out there. And I actually watched the Joe Rogan podcast that he was on where they talked about aliens. And it actually gets into a lot more depth than a lot of these articles give it credit for. So I'll start off at the beginning, and it's cool because like the second he gets on Rogan, he's like a couple minutes in, they're already talking about UFOs, 7 different aliens working for the U.S. government, weed, music. I mean, just like, everything you want to hear about, but in alternate dimensions. I mean, it's crazy. And they're already starting the whole show tripping on mushrooms. They've been up all night tripping on mushrooms. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome. They admitted that they hadn't slept before the podcast recording. They were just up all night. So, anyway, what does Post say? His direct words were, I have seen a UFO. I was probably 16, and it was in upstate New York, and I would just stay there. He stated, he basically lived with his aunt and uncle for quite a while. His aunt and uncle were like his parents for a while, and they had a very strict bedtime, about 10 p.m. So he was looking out his window with his cousin, and he sees a light that just stays there. And then he says it just effing goes off. He says, I mean, you can't explain it. It just took off, and it was out of vision within a second. This is confirmed by his cousin, too, which is interesting, because it's upstate New York, so it's not like New York City. It's upstate, so it's got a little bit of, some foresty area and that kind of thing. But that's not the only place he actually saw a UFO. He actually saw a few UFOs in different states, multiple states. He actually currently lives in Utah, of all places. He doesn't like the hustle and bustle of LA. He likes the calm and peace and serenity of Utah. So he sees another UFO or a paranormal event in what's known as Tarzana. Now, I thought Tarzana was a totally different country. Apparently, it's in California. So he states, I used to live in Tarzana, Southern California, right? And he stated that this experience, he stated it kind of looked, and it sounds corny. This is his exact quote. He says, it sounds corny, but it's like a classic force field. It's like a dome in a circular shape. In Tarzana, I was looking down at the effing city, and I'm like, how does no one else see this? But I was there for like effing 4 hours, or I was there with effing 4 other people, and they saw it too. Now, this particular event is really interesting because what it sounds like he's envisioning here is a dome coming over a city. Now, if you haven't seen it, this is a great show. It's called Under the Dome. It's a Stephen King book that they made into a show. It's got Hank from Breaking Bad in it. He's a badass, pain in the ass cop, and it's got a bunch of great actors in it. The whole story revolves around a dome falling around the city Chester's Mill and people fighting for resources and staying alive and da-da-da-da-da, this, that, and the third. But it's interesting because that story is based around an alien experiment. You know, sorry if I'm ruining it, but you got to imagine if a dome falls on a freaking city, it's probably because of an alien experiment or the government, right? Domes don't fall on the city for no reason. So if it's like that, it's almost like the show, except they couldn't get out of the dome. They were stuck. They tried to tunnel underneath it, tried to get out, and they just couldn't get out. But if it's true that he saw a dome on that city, it could have been like a force field. Like there's different ways to look at it. One way you could look at it as maybe it was a force field of positivity, of an energy force field trying to bring positive energy to this area that may have needed it. Wouldn't that be a fascinating scientific experiment? Maybe the government's DARPA program has already created something like that. It would be fascinating if that was the case. Now, on the negative flip side, it could have been a negative force field bringing about fear, loathing, in any other Johnny Depp movie you can think of. No, but, that's the other flip side of it. It could have been negative. So hopefully it was positive. But again, Post stated that he couldn't live in LA. It was stifling to his creativity. He couldn't think. So he had to move to Utah. What's funny is he saw aliens or UFOs in Utah as well. He states that he believes that they are from off-world, that the ships that he saw defied everything that humans could create. And he also talked about how Paul Hellyer, who used to be the Minister of Defense in Canada, stated that the government, or the United States government, has seven different aliens working for the government. And he talked about that in detail, and Joe's like, wait a minute, what? Pull it up, Jamie. And Jamie pulls it up, and sure enough, they were able to pull up an article that talked about Paul Hellyer, and you can look him up. I've got him right here. Paul Hellyer worked for the Canadian government. When he worked for the Canadian government, he actually, or maybe a little bit after, I don't know if he actually said it while he was working for the Canadian government, but he stated that there were 7 different species working for the government. Now, not only that, but he also talks about the fact that there was pull this over too. There was 7. I'm sorry. There is. Here's Paul Hellyer, former Minister of National Defense of Canada. Think about that for a moment. The National Defense Minister. This dude knows everything. And he comes out publicly and says that the United States government is working with 7 different freaking species. That's a pretty bold statement. But he's not the only one. Naim Eshed, who was the prime minister or the minister of defense for Israel, also stated the same thing, that there is a galactic federation that is working with the United States government, and that we're all working together. So all these prime ministers came out way before this whistleblower, what's his face, Grudge or whatever his name is, Grudge, Trash, whatever the hell his name is, doesn't matter. He's not the best whistleblower in the planet, but he'll do for the time being. Grudge, whatever his name is. So I wanted to pull up this cool AI picture because sometimes I like to make AI pictures of different celebrities when I'm doing a podcast about them, and I made this one, so I thought it was kind of cool, actually. We'll pull over. Come on. Jeez Louise. I'm not asking a whole lot. Just pull over. Anyway, so Post brought up a lot of interesting points. He did state that he was like kind of spitballing. He did state that he's very interested in it, but that he was kind of spitballing. They were coming up with ideas about government disclosure. Will the government ever disclose? Yeah, here's this picture. I really like that one. They were talking about, will the government ever disclose? They stated that either A, they're going to disclose when there's too much pressure or there's an imminent threat and they want people to be aware. They also talked about the fact that the government did kind of give it out. This podcast actually took back in 2020. They were giving out information back in 2020. Tidbits here, tidbits there, and now we're in 2023 with, Grush and all these guys coming out and these hearings. So this stuff's been coming out for years now. It's not just now. It's Paul Hellyer. It's Naim Eshed. It's Bob Lazar. I mean, these guys have been out for forever, but it's all these celebrities now kind of making it a household name of disclosure. And people, think about 2020. COVID. Everybody locked down. Racial tensions, police brutality. You had out-of-work individuals. You had people who were fighting to get their jobs back. I mean, people losing their houses. I mean, it was just a goddamn nightmare. So the government was like, oh, hell yeah, all this other stuff's going on. We're going to, spread this stuff out a little bit. We're going to release some reports, and let it go. So Posty, the cool dude that he is, he's definitely down with the cause and gave us a lot of info in the podcast. Now, granted, they don't spend the entire time talking about UFOs, but they do spend a little bit of time about it. I wanted to pull up one other article from complex.com. I think it was a little bit better than the Vanity Fair one. And, Vanity Fair and Complex, they rate everybody else, so we can rate them too, can't we? But they talked about how cool it was within just minutes. They were talking about UFOs. He says he's had more recent sightings in Utah, where he currently resides. He talks about, they actually talked about ghosts as well as weather control conspiracy theories. They also talked about the mask mandates because it was 2020. And then Malone said that he believes everyone should wear a mask back then to keep everyone safe. There were a few bands back at that time that were, holding concerts that, was outside, and they were like putting up these weird cardboard like cutouts to like let people stand in them, and hopefully you wouldn't get COVID. It was kind of ridiculous. But, they were kind of talking about that and saying that, I don't know, it was one band, I can't remember, I don't want to put anybody's name on blast, but one band was doing that, and they were saying that they were putting them at risk. He said, you shouldn't be forced to wear a mask, but you should. That's because I respect you as a fellow human being, and that's fair. I like that. He said it is weird to be forced to wear something. It's like being in school and tucking in your shirt, or else you get detention, that kind of thing. But anyway, the cool thing is that when we're talking about all these celebrities now coming out and just being open with their stories, this wouldn't have happened like 50, 60, 70 years ago. You know, somebody might have interviewed them. Let's say it was like Johnny Carson, or, you know, going even further back like Ed Sullivan, and interviewing somebody and say, hey, have you seen those have you seen those UFO ships up in the sky? People would have been like, oh yeah, it's probably just some stars or something, you know, or whatever, some kid's toy. But now people are saying, hey man, I saw a ship, or hey man, I saw some freaking aliens, or hey, I talked to this guy who worked for the government who said, hey, you know what, we do have aliens, we are working with them, or we've seen them, or we've seen these craft, or whatever the case is. So we're getting this like broad amount of information coming at us with the internet, obviously with podcasts, video casts, documentaries. We have people doing documentation on articles on the web. I mean, there's just so much information everywhere. It's hard to kind of lock it down. But at the end of the day, lock down universe. But at the end of the day, it's up for you to make your own judgment call on everything that you see in front of you in this universe. Everything's made of energy. Even this thing being lit up is made of energy. You know, this ceramic dog is made out of energy. You are made out of energy. Everything is vibrating. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to make your own judgment call on what you see in front of you. Now, for me, I'm a believer. Maybe not in everything, because some stuff sometimes seems so far-fetched, you might not know what to believe. But when we have a lot of people talking about the same thing that they're seeing, that's what reality is defined by. It's the agreement of multiple people on a specific viewpoint or scenery or environment that they're in, situation that they're in. So, although that can be tricky too, that's the definition. So, I like Post. I like his music. I like hearing these multiple different celebrities coming out with their own view, their own experiences, and their own perception on the UFO phenomenon. Now we're going to get into Demi Lovato has really influenced a lot of people. She went out to the Joshua Tree, Kesha, Miley Cyrus, and even Shaquille O'Neal. So we'll get into all these different sightings and experiences from all these different celebrities as the days go on. But I just wanted to share this one with you because I thought it is interesting that Post has seen UFOs from all the way from New York and New Jersey all the way across the country. This is a huge country, all the way to California. Okay, it's on the coast, makes sense. And then Utah, which is out in the desert, which is getting a little bit closer to Nevada and New Mexico, right? So we know there's lots of bases there. So he might be in a perfect position to see some great craft and great experiences. So, and he's not even doing like the CE5s, experiences where they're CE5s are those groups that go out, or single individuals that go out and they try to communicate telepathically and say, hey, I want to see a UFO right now, and the UFO comes down right in front of them, or in the sky, and they're able to see it. Some of these other celebrities are going to talk about that, so we'll get into that in just a moment. But that's not Posty. So thank you, Posty, for coming on the show. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Alien Head, for continually vibrating your energy to us. I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening, taking care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. If you want to chill out and listen to some just relaxing, fun music, not super hyped up, put on Post Malone's Sunflower. It's a song. It's a love song about a girl, but it's so chill. It's really relaxing. Put on White Iverson. White Iverson's a great chill song. He's got so many others, and then he's got some more upbeat ones like Chemical, that are brand new songs, and a few others. So whatever you put on, you're gonna enjoy. Anyway, guys, take care of yourselves. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams, and as always, continue to question the universe around you. Till next time, guys, take care of yourselves. Keep your eyes on the sky and lock down the universe out. Peace.